Yo, Tony D here with a special review for my guy Matt at the comic shop. I was in there buying some stuff and he just turned me on to this. Asked me if I remember it, because we're both 90s kids. We share a love for the 90s and all the chaos that came with it. Wouldn't change a thing. I totally did not know about this. And he said, hey, can you do a review on this? And I was like, yeah, I'm totally into it. Anything from the 90s, I'm into it. Writer Todd Johnson and artist Larry Stroman. It's an Image comic released in 1993. And I had no idea this thing made history as the highest selling African-American created comic book in the U.S. That's a big deal. It sold over 1 million copies. You know, the best-selling comic created by African-American creators. That's something to say. What's interesting, when I was in the shop, he was talking about Larry Stroman, and I was like, there's something familiar about that. And he goes, oh, check. He did a run on X Factor, and he pulled those out, and I was like, I totally know who that is by technique and the art. That was back in a time where I was buying things purely if it impacted me visually when I saw it. And Stroman's work is kinetic. It jumps off the page. It is electrifying. And it's unapologetic as well. Love this shot. That was back when things were still in skinny mode, if you know what I'm talking about. But it reminded me of the Fly Girls in Living Color. The minute I started reading, I was like, yeah, I totally know who this dude is. His artwork it's just exaggerated, full of swagger, and the visual style, it is loud and proud with bold character designs and dynamic layouts that practically leap off the page. And you can just tell right here. Look at the line work. Now the story, it's dense and a little chaotic as I was reading it. I think it's intentionally that way. You just have numerous underlying themes of identity, legacy, community, and it's just setting the stage for something deeper. It's that raw edge to the storytelling that suggests that there's a huge untapped potential beneath it. I truly believe that. The story, the first issue, you're being introduced to protagonist and antagonist at the same time. And one thing I love about this, it didn't lean heavy into just superficial cultural aspects. It really was just the way things were back then. There was nothing agenda-based, if that makes sense. It was just, hey, here's a story with 90s flavor. And the characters are very interesting. Like this invisible guy, he's a very high-tech antagonist. And this guy can control his surroundings. Probably a mutant. It's funny how he makes himself a white guy to open this club. He's opening clubs and they get a beat on this guy. And it looks like there's some recruitment going on. But like I said, the story was a bit chaotic for me, but it didn't matter because the artwork just shined. Stroman is the shining light on this book. And that's really just, if I try to explain everything that's going on, we'll just get lost, but just feast your eyes on this beautiful artwork. That's what I'm talking about. It jumps right off the page. Oh, it is very exaggerated. I love how he exaggerates the stuff. This character's super strong. There is an established team. I will say that. This guy is super fast. Loves speedsters. But he has to hide it in what he's doing. He's in a fight club. And yeah, totally love that. I just love everything about Stroman's work. That X Factor run I totally was into it. The exaggeration is really what pulls me in, where you see his artwork, you know who it is. There's heavy recruitment, and I did some research into the history of what was going on, what they had in store. There was one quote where Stroman was talking about how this was going to be a 200-member team. They were looking at this as a long-running title to have 200 members, or just at least introducing numerous members to this team. And they even would act like some of the research was they would act like an urban version of Youngblood to act as a cover for what they were doing. This club is all manufactured by, I'm going to call him a mutant. I think that's what he is. And there's a team of, this isn't our guy with the high-tech suit that's invisible. This is a different team going after this one individual. And this is our high-tech individual. Probably a leader of Tribe. Look at that. Totally dig that. But this is where I got a little bit lost in the writing. I started seeing other characters emerging here, and I was like, is that a bad guy, good guy? What's going on? It took a little concentration, but I bet if you keep reading it, I think, God, dude, they only went 9 issues. For something to sell 1 million copies and just go 9 issues is weird to me. I even delved into some of that research. Great shot. Stroman's the man. This is wonderful too. I was at a point where I didn't care that I was getting a little lost in the dialogue and who is who. I just marveled at the artwork. If anything, it is totally worth that. And here's our invisible guy. He's got cloaking technology. I like how it's very heavy tech, and Stroman can draw tech good. It's really fun to look at. On the dialogue, it was just punchy. It was streetwise. Really unapologetic, being steeped in the aesthetics and attitude of the early 90s hip-hop scene. It just totally reflects that. They did an excellent job with that. Yeah, this is Murdoch. He wants that guy. It looks like this guy is with him. See, that's where I got lost. Who's with who? And I can see why Matt at the Comic Shop knows me really well now. We're pretty much family, and he knows what I get into. And he'll just throw me a book. He just gave this to me. 1 million copies out there, what's it gonna hurt? But this is worth more than $1 to me, man. This is priceless. When someone gives me something, it means a lot. This is totally worth the read. I'm totally glad I have it in my collection. And it'll turn into another research / just get the 9 issues of what they came up with. I'll give you a little history of what happened after this, but I really wanted you to just see Stroman and his dynamic artwork that just, it's a sucker punch to the eyeballs. Fantastic. It's a good intro issue, and this is really great. That's an antagonist. I knew that. And it seems to me he may be a psychic, but the way that he interacts with that energy production, look at that. That's what I'm talking about, kinetic. It just crackles with energy, and you can see it in that face. Dude's in trouble. You look at something like that, and the 90s was full of that. It was being the largest African-American title at the time. You would think that like this thing would go, it exceeded expectations with that mark. And it was canceled in the Image shakeup of '94. That has nothing to do with the book or the creators. It's just what happened. Stroman and Johnson founded Axis Comics to continue the publication of Tribe. But the company closed after publishing only 9 issues. I'll try to get them. In a press release, Stroman cited the change in his working relationship with Johnson and increased production costs, creator apathy, unforeseen market factors. You start hearing all that, and there's probably a lot of tension behind the scenes. But yeah, it's like lightning in a bottle, but the 90s, it was just that type of era. But Matt, I hope you enjoy the review. Please chime in. I love the education. And outro, get it.